Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cabo Adventures 101, Season 1, Episode 2. And in this episode, we're going to discuss rental properties. Why did we get rental properties? Pros and cons, and why did we end up selling our rental properties in the States and relocating them down to Cabo? So, why did we get rental properties?
So, with both of us being self employed, we don't really have a retirement that we put away into. So, our thought was, especially being in real estate, you hear it from several colleagues that real estate is where it's at. So, we decided to buy rental properties here in actually it didn't work out that way. We lived in one and then we made it a rental and then we bought another. And so, that's kind of how we ended up buying rental properties. So, but
And we did it because we figured that there's a couple things. We were going to get residual income. We would get the rental income every month, and that was going to help subsidize our income. We figured once they're paid off, we could just live off rents. We knew there'd be equity growth over time, so that was a big benefit of it. And we thought it was going to be very easy.
not so much.
Well, there's pros and cons to it. So.
Yeah, there is.
So those are the pros, is the money and the income and the equity growth. But then some of the cons is like, you have to field all the calls, with all of your tenants. You have to do all the repairs, fix everything.
Well, and when we first started off, we weren't really vetting like we probably should have vetted. We were just like, just I don't know. I think we were getting our heartstrings pulled, and we would say, yeah, sure, rent our place, and then that would not work out so great. So we learned throughout the process on how to better vet, check credit, get a bigger deposit, those kinds of things that helped us along the road.
The other thing I'd like to interject there is like be careful if you're already buying a rental property that already has a tenant. Vet those tenants, because a lot of times the person that's selling, the seller, told us one time, "Oh, I got great tenants in both units," and then when we talked to the lady in the front unit, she told us, "Actually, that's my deadbeat daughter in the back. I told the guy, do not rent to her," and then we ended up having a 9-month no rent and a eviction out of it. So be careful of the tenants you might inherit.
Yeah, and another reason, another con to that is that when COVID hit, we weren't getting any rents anymore, and it was just one renter. He was really good for the years prior to that, and then he stopped paying. So we didn't get a payment from him for about a year and a half, and it took us a long time to go to court. The courts were closed. I think we were one of the first cases that they actually opened up for us because they felt so bad for us because we kept going, is it time yet? Can we get to court? Can we get this guy out? So needless to say, he got out, but we lost out on a lot of money, and we threw in a lot of money because it just got trashed. It was a complete mess, and there was a lot of mess left behind. Bags of garbage, and it was infested with fleas. It was a mess.
Hopefully you have better luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not saying it's a bad thing to have rentals at all. I mean, there's a lot of people in the area and states that have rentals because it is a good potential to make that extra income, especially for retirement, equity growth, or whatever the case may be. You just need to know the steps to getting better renters, and and that kind of stuff. We failed at that part, I think, a little bit.
No, we learned.
We learned a lot.
Learned over the time.
Yes.
I think the biggest positive is the equity, because you will gain equity. I mean, depending on what state you're in, it seems like a lot of states now are getting a good 5% equity growth year over year. So that's the one thing that really helped us out over the time, is even made up for the deficit of rents. But if you're looking at it for like month to month residual income, I personally just don't think that it's really there. But so then when did we decide that we still wanted to stay in the rent game, but we wanted to do short-term Airbnb, and we wanted to get it out of the state of California? How did that all happen?
So we started looking into Airbnbs probably about 2 years ago. When COVID hit, Airbnb went up all over. I mean, obviously being in real estate, we have clients that are leaving the state, and I had a lot leaving the state. So I would ask questions, where are you going? What are you doing? And so anyways, we started doing trainings and listening to other people do their Airbnbs and how they went about it and how they did it. And I follow a great friend of mine now that does Airbnbs in North Carolina, Amanda, and we learned a lot from her. We took her course. We learned a lot from her, but she does it differently than what we wanted to do with our Airbnbs. So, anyways, that's kind of, that was one of the things that we just started to ponder on and think about, and thought, gosh, that would probably be better. Let's find somewhere where people are actually going on vacations, or maybe possibly wanting to relocate where they can stay for a while. And that's what started that whole adventure.
And then you could also use it as a vacation home yourself, and it would be a business trip, so maybe you could write it off on your taxes. So that was also another pro.
Yeah.
And so we ended up taking a vacation in January of 2021 down to Cabo, and Amanda and her boyfriend Alex were actually living in Cabo at the time for a couple months. And we had your mom and dad with us, and Amanda had her mom. And so we met on the beach, and we spent the whole day talking real estate and talking Airbnb arbitrage and house hacking and all kinds of different things. And that was when we really started to think after that trip, like, 100% this is what we're doing now. Then at that point, it was kind of like, well, where are we going to do it?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's where we were like all over the place pondering. We went Arkansas. I mean, because we had people going so many places, and even from our church, people were going to so many different areas, and we'd ask questions, and how is it over there, and do people vacation there, and where can we make good decent money, and where is it that we want to go vacation at the same time. So we just started doing a bunch of research and hearing more and more about Cabo and how it was growing, and more Americans were going there, Canadians, and people from all over were going there, and just nothing but great feedback from Cabo. So we decided, once we vacationed, we decided to keep looking into it. And our research mainly was our YouTube. We started following a realtor over there, and we just watched his YouTube channel, and he was constant, consistent, and we learned a lot from him, and we felt like we knew so much about Cabo without even being in Cabo and going to Cabo as much as, we'd only been there one time to visit. Yep. So that's really what got us going in that direction.
That, and the other thing was like, even though we're from a small community in Northern California, it was kind of surprising like how many people just in our community go down to Cabo. And then the more and more you talk to people, it's like literally almost everybody I would say like honestly like 65-70% of the people we know, like, oh yeah, I go to Cabo, or and then maybe even like 30% they'll go, I go regularly.
Yeah.
So then really start opening our minds like, wow, that Airbnb market down there is pretty huge, and it's international. We're here in the States, it might be like a college campus and people are going there to visit their kids, or during you go to an industrial park where people are traveling for business, or or like Olivia said, vacation spots, and that could be seasonal based on weather. We're down there, we were like, man, the rental income's year round.
Yeah.
It's pretty much beautiful weather all the time.
Well, and then I think with when COVID hit, so many people started venturing out and really stepping outside of that little box that we were all in.
Definitely.
And just figuring out different avenues of, oh wow, I can work from home, I can work from Cabo, I got great internet here, I can do whatever I want here. And people just started figuring different ways of working from home. So I think that opened up a whole new door as well over there, and which made it a lot more interesting for people interested in the fact of like, oh, what are you guys doing over there? Why did you guys buy over there? So that's why we decided to start doing these videos, so people really got the knowledge of how to do it and how to go about it. So
yeah, definitely, just to kind of fill in the gaps of like some of the information that's out there, just to be more up to date, and kind of full disclosure. What we're experiencing and how we're going about it and how we got there.
Yep.
And what other items did you want to discuss?
I think that was it for this episode, so we don't go too long. But we're going to start really being consistent with these videos. So this is really the kickoff real video on how we got there. So yeah, I think that's it for today.
All right, and that's a wrap. Keep watching so we can make your daydreams reality.
Bye for now.